Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking time in your day to watch this video. Okay, I'm going to talk about competition in your field right now. Wherever you may work at, whatever you may be doing as a job, let's talk about that. And let's talk about how it relates to the IT field, right? So right now, you work. I'm going to just say you work in the sales industry, Walmart, Kmart, McDonald's, whatnot, right? So these jobs are like 9 to say $15 an hour. Maybe you work at Amazon. Okay. So your competition really is really not a lot actually because everybody, those jobs are easy to get. So you don't have a lot of competition actually, right? And nobody really wants them, right? So you have uh, not a lot of competition. So there's not a lot. Let's represent this graph, if you will. So this represents like your competition in what job you have now, anywhere from $9 to $15 an hour. Okay, that's your competition. So in the IT industry, okay, you have you have systems administration, you have help desk, you have all those things. So let's just put up help desk first of all, right? So in help desk, okay, usually the salary is anywhere from say 18 to 25 an hour, something like that. I'd say really like 15, right, to 25 an hour. Okay, usually that's help desk. So your competition, there's a lot of competition actually for these, right? Because people want to go in and they want to get a job. Okay, okay. Having said that, right. So this represents the competition for the help desk. Okay, let's make another thing here. Okay, all right. So now let's represent another skill set, right? So we're going to talk now about systems administration. Okay, so systems administration, again, same thing. You have quite a bit of competition actually. SYS systems. Okay, admin. DMIN. Okay, their salary is usually like $20 to say $50 an hour, something like that. So that's your competition. So notice inside the system administration, there's a lot of individuals who know, maybe they don't know exactly what you do, but they know kind of a general idea. So companies will hire them because they know they can just teach them a new skill set, right? So it's not a big deal there. So the next one we're going to talk about is going to be, so I'm going to bring up just the niche market. So niche. So in the niche market, so what you do is you find something that you know that not a lot of people are doing, right? And that's called a niche or a niche, whatever they call it, right? NICHE, right? So I'll give you one actually that's a niche market, and that's actually backups. That's actually what I do, right, for a living. So in that market, the competition is very, very low. Okay. Why is it that way, right? Because you have a lot of, let's just call this, let's say CommVault, okay? COMMV, right? Your competition is very small, okay? One, it's not really known what a backup administrator is, okay? And two, you don't know, maybe somebody doesn't know the companies that have these roles. Maybe the company doesn't yet know that they need them. So what they do is they have a systems administrator will do the job of a backup admin along with being sysadmin. But more and more, it's starting to come about where you have it's a need for a dedicated backup person. So usually, what happens is on this role, you're also going to have it's kind of bunched together sometimes, which is a storage administrator. Okay, so they go hand in hand. The Commvault or the backup administrator and the storage administrator. Okay, they go back in hand. So let me give you some numbers here, right? So the backup admin, right, anywhere from can be at least $30 an hour, anywhere to like $80 an hour or more, actually, right? So, and that's only backup. That's only they do backup and they do some storage. The reason why this is so important as a job is because the backup admin talks to everything, right? So your backup software, it's just so in Commvault's case, it's like a Windows box, right? So your backup software, your backup server, right? That's basically right. What a backup software does, it touches the firewall team, right? You have to interact with the firewall folks. You have to interact with the help desk people, the ticketing folks, right? You have to access or you have to talk to the uh, systems administration people. You have to talk to the network administration folks as well, NAs, network administration. You have to also talk with the leadership as well, right? So the management, right? So maybe call it ops management or whatever, right? The reason you OPS, right? Okay. The reason you do this is because the data is so critical, right? So you have two terms that you'll hear a lot about in backup, right? You have the what's it called the uh, RPO, which is like recovery point objective, right? And then you have the RTO, so the recovery time objective. And your company, your product, you as a backup vendor, right? Your company, what you don't know about this is this: when your company has insurance, let's say you're a financial institution, let's say you're a maintenance institution, right? And and they have inventory. For instance, like what you back up is inventory. So it's a list of computer parts or it's a list of items in a warehouse, right? This gigantic warehouse or this like Amazon. Let's say Amazon. So Amazon has a backup team that does this. So they back up all of the information that they have, like where it came from, all the packages, right? When it gets to the warehouse, they know where it's at every point in time. They know who ordered it, they know what item it is, they know how much it costs, they know the weight, all this information, right? It's stored usually on a server, a backup server, and then it's probably most likely replicated somewhere else. Okay. So having said that, right? So what happens is a lot of companies, when probably mostly all actually, right? When they go and they have insurance, so they have this insurance that they have to write on their company for uh, disaster. They have to do like a disaster recovery insurance, basically, right? So here you go. Sometimes what will happen is when you perform a test, like a disaster recovery on data, like a database server or something like that, for the company, right? What you're doing essentially is you're saving them anywhere from 1,000 to I've seen it where it's like $1 million a year in their insurance policy, right? Okay, let me say that again. Let me say that again. Here's why it's so critical. When you're a backup administrator, you're helping to save anywhere from 1,000 to $1 million in insurance per year for the company. Okay, that's why you're critical. That's why you're a big deal. Okay, backups are always invited. Backup people, administrators, engineers, whatever, they're always invited to any of the meetings because it's very critical what they do. Any type of changes that are in the network, the backup administrator is usually involved in it, whether it be a network, firewall, help desk, system admin, operations, right? The backups usually are the ones that are involved in it, so they know some of the aspects of it. Because let's say the firewall team, right? They turn off a port, okay, and like, wait a minute, our backups aren't working, right? So what happens is that there's like, wait a minute, you have to firewall team, why'd you do that, right? Okay, okay, network team, there's a port that goes down, the switch that goes down, right? And it does their backups for them. Or I'm sorry, it does your data store. So let's say it's like a Cisco fiber extender, right? Which plugs into like say the data store. And let's say a backup like CommVault uses in their VSA agents, they back up using for the virtual machines. So the network team has the ability to like set up what are they called? Not they're called interfaces. What are they called? WWNs, worldwide names, yeah, or WWPs. I forget. Anyway, they're able to set it up to where the data store can talk to another device, right? So what you have is you have from the client, the server, you'd have to be able to talk to the backup. So in order to do that, you have to route it through switches and sometimes even routers, right? So that's where the network team comes into play. The help desk team. So the help desk team, they're critical in So Active Directory goes down. Wait a minute, I can't authenticate. My backup server can't authenticate. I can't back up clients. There's a lot of things there. The same thing with systems administration as well. That kind of falls into it as well. And your operations is like, okay, hey, what do we got going on here? Maybe the operations talks to another team. Maybe there's money involved where if it's there's backup that they are a service for another company to back up. Well, operations has to be able to talk to backup team and say, okay, what are we going to charge, or we're going to do this. Backup team, we want to increase the backup time from whatever. Well, how does that affect our backups, right? And that's why the operations team, it's critical in talking. Really, all of them, really, actually. So the backup team is really one of the most critical parts in the company. So all of this encompasses, right? All of this thing are here. There's what they call a platform or what was it called? It's more like a way to manage all these things, right? Have you ever heard of the word ITIL? ITIL? ITIL. So ITIL, I guess it's like a framework or it's like a model, right? That enables folks to track everything. Okay. It's really the best thing going, actually, right? There's a prominent company, they have a couple of them, right? But the one I'm familiar with is Remedy. So if you've never heard of Remedy, Remedy is like a way to track tickets, track outages, track, SolarWinds is another example of that. Although they don't necessarily create tickets, SolarWinds doesn't. You have ServiceNow. That's another one. You have Open Ticket System, I think, is another one that they use. But predominantly, the businesses, IBM Maximo is another example. But typically, they're used in like the oil and gas industry. They wouldn't be typically used in this type of industry. Say the backup as a service or in the backup industry. So the range of salary. So typically, now here's the thing, right? Let's go back to what I was talking about really with the competition. So let's talk about competition. So, all right. So your competition as a backup administrator, again, is very, very small, right? Very small. Because you learn, there's only a couple of backup softwares, right? By the way, there's CommVault, ULT, right? They have Net Backup, whatever. They have Veeam, VEEAM, and then they have these are just a few, right? These NetApp. NetApp is both a backup as a service or backup program, basically, and it also is a storage device. So that serves two purposes. You also have other programs, but these are predominantly, right? So the market share, if you've ever seen it, right, the market share is really owned by CommVault. CommVault's the big player, right? The big heavy one, right? Net Backup, that's Veritas Net Backup, they're the most money. So they're like, if you do the little, I don't know, you look on some of the Yelp or whatever, and it has like a little star $, that's the cost. So the cost for CommVault's usually cheaper, right? And so Veeam, they're the cheapest one out there, right? And they just do virtual machines, right? Veeam just does virtual machines, whereas CommVault does everything, and Net Backup does everything. Okay, so let's talk about the architecture, the operating system. So CommVault uses mostly, so right now, this is still the case, right? It uses only Windows for their CommServe, right? And they have media agents. Now Backup, let's call it NBU, right? Backup uses both Windows and Linux, okay? And Veeam uses both Windows and Linux as well to back up or as a software to use as backing up. Okay, let's talk about salary, right? So, or let's talk about why it's important for you to have a niche and all that, right? So, you walk into an area, right, and this is your competition, right? And as a sysadmin, let's say, right? Let's just say this is a sysadmin. Okay. Okay. So now you say to the people, well, not only do I know systems administration, but I know CommVault as well. They say, oh, okay. So now your competition is this. So this would be like an additional skill, right? If you will. Okay. Because you really should know both, actually. But the good news is you can start to learn CommVault and then fill in the gaps with the systems administration knowledge, actually, right? So you may be asking yourself, like, what, you know, uh, is there somewhere I can go to learn this, right? Oh, funny you should ask that, right? Haha, funny you should ask this. So I happen to have a course on the internet, right? So the website is get a job in IT, right? Dot teachable, teachable dot com. Okay. So in that course, it's like $9 or something like that, right? $9, yeah, $9. In that course, I teach you Windows, I teach you Linux, I teach you Active Directory, I teach you SharePoint. No, well, I teach you a little SharePoint actually. Let's stay there. I teach you SQL. I teach you Oracle. Okay. I teach you CommVault, which is really the key here, right? CommVault, and I also teach you how to get a job in CommVault. Okay, because when you walk into the job, you got to know what you're talking about, right? And so I leave. There's some individuals ask me, say, why do you leave all the errors in, right? I've watched these other courses, and they just it's more streamlined. There's no errors. I leave the errors in because 1,000% you're going to have the same exact issue I am going to have. No, you're going to have the same thing, and I want you to be able to look at it and say, okay, that's an error, right? And then do it yourself. And if you have the error, great. Then you know how to work through it. If you don't, that's good too. The reason I do this is because when you get into the job interview, right, you need to have a story. You need to tell them a story, right? You need to be able to talk to them and say, "Oh yeah, I installed CommVault, and I had an issue with this. Media agent wouldn't work. I had my storage policy didn't. I wasn't able to back up using the storage policy. I had to change it. My duplication didn't work. A plethora of things. So that's the reason why on my course I have it the way I have it. That's exactly the reason why. Now it is 20 hours long, and what I would say is this: when you take the course, when you take my course, you want to chop it up into, okay, it's not a hurry, 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 go, 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 right? It's not the course. It's not how I laid it out. It's 20 hours, right? But I set it up like this. I set it up like this. It should take you anywhere from a month to 6 months to complete. Okay, it's kind of like that. And what I do is I just walk you through the progression. Okay, imagine you're progressing through your IT career. You don't know anything. You have no idea. Maybe you work at Walmart, Kmart, McDonald's, whatever. And my course is going to teach you everything you need to know to get a job in IT, entry level job. Okay, and then in a year's time, you're going to make like six figures. Okay, because I know, because that's how I did it myself. Okay, and that's how I designed the course. Right. Now the good thing is you can always ask me questions. That's the benefit, right? And like really $9? Really, that's a lot for you? Like if you're battling $9, really, seriously, $9? That's nothing. Really, that's nothing. So, that's why it is what it is. I know some. It's not quick. It's a long term investment in your time. Consider yourself. The one thing is, right. If you take my course, right, you're paying $9 and whatever cents, right, 99 cents, I think. Okay, or no, right, not or, but the converse of that is this: you can go to college, you can go to boot camp, right? You can spend, I don't know, $400 to 3,000, whatever, right, to learn the same thing. Okay, so think of it that way, right? That's the benefit of the knowledge. What I get out of is this. So the end of the day, here's what I get out of this. So of course I have an ego. Who doesn't, right? So when I see, I look for those stories you have out there, and you're going to tell me, say, hey, wow, you know, I did it, I did it. Thank you for your help, right? And I love that. I love hearing the stories of somebody who went from, say, $9 an hour working at Walmart or Kmart or McDonald's or wherever, right? $9 an hour to 15, right? You make $15 an hour. And you tell me like, hey, Gary, hey, I just started my job. Guess what? I'm making 50K a year. Okay. After 6 months, like, wow. Okay. Now my mind is blown because it's like, that's really, I'm so excited. It's like it's a good feeling, right? When you can help folks, right, to do this. So and then you say to me after a year, you say, "Hey, Gary, wow, I put the work in. I put the work in. I know you created the course. I put the work in, and now I make 100K a year. Thank you very much." This is a little different than say a get rich quick scheme, right? That's not what I'm offering here, by the way. There's no get rich quick. It doesn't really exist, right? There's work involved in that, right? I mean, you have to put the time in order to get the result at the end. So, just to recap, if you want to sign up for my course, right, and you want to get get the knowledge needed to make money in IT, entry level, in 6 months' time, make 50K. After a year's time, make 100K. Then I suggest you go to getajobinit.teachable.com and first try out the free one. So I have a free course there, right? And afterwards, go with the paid one, which is the Learn Backup and Restore with CommVault and get a high paying job.